Welcome to the top 10 most pulled comic books for October 2nd, 2024. I'm Mike Spiderslayer. This is Comic Book Corner 2.0. Guys, if you love daily comic book content and you like me helping you make decisions of what comic books to buy, you came to the right place. Hit the subscribe button. Also, where do I get my information from? I get it from League of Comic Geeks, a great site to let you know when comic books are coming out. And if you want to create a weekly pull list, a monthly pull list, it's absolutely free and you can do that. Remember, this is not definitive sales. This is what people are just putting on their pull list using this website. So with that being said, guys, let's get started with this week's episode. So we always start off with the books that are on the outside looking in. There's 5 of them, and this is pretty pathetic for a new number 1 for a popular character. And this is Storm. This is issue 1. However, this might show that, hey, does Storm really need an individual series? This book is, how is there a legacy numbering? There's legacy numbering 12. There's 40 pages for $5. The pull number on this book has 2,969 pulls. This one is written by Marwena Adewale, and the art is done by Lucas Wernick. I honestly will probably pull issue 1 just to cover it on Worthy Ones, but I don't think I'll be continuing the series in the long run because there's just a lot of other books coming out, much better characters that have individual series. But yeah, hey, if you like it and you're going to want to continue it, that's awesome, man. Our second book that's on the outside looking in goes to King Spawn. This is issue 38. 24 pages for the price of $3. This book has 3,048 pulls. It's written by Todd McFarlane. The art is done by Javier Fernandez. And the cover art here is done by Mark Spears, which looks absolutely awesome. The story of King Spawn, I don't know about. I don't currently read this book, but I'm sure the Dead Zones affect Spawn in this comic book as well. It's just one of those plot lines that I feel like at this point has been kind of going on a little bit too long. Hopefully they can shrink in once again so Spawn characters can heal, get their powers, and kick some serious ass. The third book that's on the outside looking in goes to Shazam. This is issue 16, 32 pages for the price of $4. This book does have 3,324 pulls, written by Josie Campbell, and the art is done by Dan McDade. The cover artist here is done by Gleb M. I'm not going to say his last name. It looks like the Shazam family is hitting on a road trip, and it looks like the kids are going to be investigating some kind of twisted monster attack. So, like I said before, I've never read Shazam. This is a DC all-in title, so if there's a time to where you want to jump in Shazam, this might be it. The fourth book that's on the outside looking in goes to the Justice Society of America, issue 12, the final issue. It's finally made it, guys. 32 pages for the price of $4, written by Jeff Johns. The art is done by Todd Nuck, and the cover art is done by Mikhail Janin. This book has 3,731 pulls. I still have collected this series, but I haven't read it. Will I read it once all the issues are done? Maybe, maybe not, but the thing is I'll be able to sell it to somebody that might want to read it for a very affordable price. It just sucks that this book was delayed and delayed and delayed. But since Jeff Johns is attached to it, I understand because he got that Ghost Machine imprint coming out. So, you know what? When it comes to that, I think I would take precedence also. The final book that's on the outside looking in, and I wish this was in the top 10, it goes to Deadpool. This is issue 7. You get 28 pages for the price of $4. This book has 4,111 pulls. Your writer is Cody Ziegler. Your artist is done by Andrea DeVito, and then your cover artist is done by Terrain Clark. Now, when it comes to this comic book, it is a very well written comic book. You know, obviously you get the story of Deadpool's daughter, Ellie. You wind up getting his supporting cast, Taskmaster and Princess, which is the symbiote dog. And Deadpool is going through some tough times right now, and it's up to Ellie, Taskmaster, and Princess to step up and to kind of take Deadpool's place at this moment to get revenge on what happened. Really solid comic book, guys. Never thought I would enjoy a Deadpool comic as much as I have, and I think this is Cody Ziegler's best comic yet. I definitely recommend it, guys. Deadpool issue 7, don't pass on it. Officially kicking off the top 10 now with Birds of Prey, issue 14. You're going to get 32 pages for the price of $4. This book does have 4,202 pulls, written by Kelly Thompson, art done by Sammy Basre, and the cover art is done by Leonardo Romero. I guess this is an all-in title, as well as it has the DC logo on there that says all in. So I'm assuming this is a new jumping on point for readers, as the Birds of Prey are back in business as they infiltrate the Ninth Day, a mysterious corporation that they believe kidnaps certain people. Who that is, I'm not sure. Is this a good jumping on point for you? Are you going to check out the Birds of Prey? Let me know in the comment section below. Grabbing the 9th spot, we have Spawn. This is issue 357. This book is $2.99. Usually get about 24 pages for that price. This book does have 4,489 pulls, written by Rory McConneville, and the art is done by Brett Booth. Now, when it comes to this Spawn book, you just got introduced to a new character that is Heaven and Hell, and she has certain powers because of that, right? It was very interesting to see her introduction in the last issue. I was very intrigued, and Spawn is going to be working with that character. Very convenient for him to be working with someone that still has powers in a world where all Spawn characters don't have powers, right? So there's that little loophole there. However, I'm very much looking forward to it. What do you guys think of Spawn right now? How this comic book is not in the top 5 or even number 1 just blows my mind. This is a big deal for DC. This is the DC All-In Special, issue 1, grabbing the 8th spot. It's a 64-page comic for $5. I think for 64 pages, I feel like it is, reasonably priced, right? And this is going to give you like the whole story, I guess, of what's going on in the DC universe, how it leads into Absolute, and all this stuff, man. I think this is something that you might want to buy. I don't know if people are not just putting it on the pull list or they're just going to go to the shop and buy it regardless, but it's wild to me. This book does have 4,765 pulls. It's written by Scott Snyder and Joshua Williamson. The art is done by Daniel Sampri and Dan Mora. So some big time people on this comic book. So if it's not on your pull list, at least give it a try. See if you like it or want to invest in this whole all-in and Absolute stuff. Coming in at number 7 is the Immortal Thor, issue 16. Like, that beats the DC All-In Special? Come on. I like the legacy numbering, though. Make a wish. Legacy numbering 777. You get 28 pages for the price of $5. So, 28 pages, $5. What do you get? 64 pages, $5, $6. Man, look at where your money's at, right? This book does have 5,116 pulls. It's written by Al Ewing, and the art is done by Jan Bazudula. Oh, I'm so sorry. And your cover art is done by the great Alex Ross, right? Listen, I've said it 1,000 times at this point. I have no idea what the heck the Immortal Thor is about, but there is a blast from the past that is making their appearance here in Asgard. Who that person is, you'll just have to read it and find out. Grabbing the number 6 spot, and I'm jumping on board, goes to Poison Ivy, issue 26. You get 32 pages for the price of $4. This book has 5,188 pulls, written by G. Willow Wilson. The art is done by Marco Takara. The cover art is done by Jessica Fong. I was waiting for a good time to jump on Poison Ivy. I'm all in when it comes to this one. You're going to get Poison Ivy, where she's trying to restore the wetlands, okay? And it looks like she's accidentally resurrecting this ancient city at the same time. So, could be a fun story here. Want to get back into it. I'm going to cross my fingers that it's really good. Are you guys reading Poison Ivy? Is it good? Has it been good? Let me know that in the comments below. Here we go, the top 5, and people are still reading it, still putting it on their pull list. It's Daredevil. This is issue 14. The revelations continue. This legacy numbering is 676. 32 pages for the price of $5. This book has 5,285 pulls. I think that is pathetic for a top 5 comic book. It seems like this is a very weak comic book week. The writer here is Saladin Ahmed, and the art is done by Luigi Segaria. And your cover art is John Romita Jr. So hopefully you guys love that cover art there. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing here that I haven't said when it comes to Daredevil. Just don't like the series. Haven't liked it for a very long time. And if you enjoy it, that's great. It still boggles my mind how this is in the top 5. So I guess you guys are enjoying it. Coming in at number 4, we're going to get the conclusion to Absolute Power. This is issue 4. 40 pages for the price of $5. This book has 5,958 pulls. The writer here is Mark Waid, and the art is done by Dan Mora, and the cover art is done by Dan Mora as well. This is it, guys, the conclusion to the whole thing. I've overall enjoyed Absolute Power. For the most part, it's been exciting. I felt like there's been stakes. I felt like issue 3, they really packed a lot into it, to the point where our heroes had their backs against the wall, and then all of a sudden, by the time we get to the end of that last issue, it seemed like the heroes now were in control. So I wish maybe there would have been at least one more issue of this to kind of, make the event breathe just a little bit. But hey, it's okay. I know they got an agenda. They got to get to All In. And overall, like I said, I've enjoyed Absolute Power. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts on what you've thought of the event. Top 3, we have Ultimate Black Panther. This is issue 9. This is 32 pages for the price of $5. A lot of you guys are still digging it. Unfortunately, I decided to drop this. I need to make room on the pull list for the new DC stuff that's coming out. There is some more new Marvel stuff that is coming out as well. And when it comes to Ultimate Black Panther, it's a solid story, but Black Panther is not my favorite character, right? And I just don't find myself into it the way I would like to, if that makes sense to you. So this book has 6,213 pulls. It's written by Brian Hill, and the art is done by Stefano Caselli. The cover artist is done by Stefano Caselli as well. Like I said, it's not a bad story, just not my favorite. So if there's a book that I'm going to drop, it's going to be a character that I don't really follow. Coming in at number 2, we have X-Men. This is issue 5. Legacy numbering 305, 28 pages for the price of $5. This book does have 7,664 pulls. For a number 2 book, I feel like that's kind of weak. This is a very light comic book week based off of what I'm seeing here. Written by Jed McKay. The pencils is done by Ryan Stegman. And the cover art is done by Ryan Stegman as well. When it comes to this book, we wind up seeing the X-Men trying to recover mutants that are developing their mutant gene. Maybe not in puberty years, but in adult years as well. And now they're going against, was it Trevor Fitzroy, I think his name was. And they're going against these upstarts and this Sugar Man guy. It's an okay comic. It's not the greatest. I'm still yet to see where the main direction of this comic is going to go. We do know that X-Men is going to be crossing over with Avengers eventually because Jed McKay writes both of them. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. And whether the story gets better or not is still yet to be determined. Here we go, the big Mamba Jamba of the day. And number 1, I'm curious to see if the pull numbers increased because of DC All In. This is Batman. This is 153. I have a feeling this is going to be the big heavy hitter. We'll see in a second. Legacy numbering 919. 40 pages, $5. So time to jump in, Batman, is now. The pulls on this one is 18,303. Definitely a little higher. I was hoping to see if it would break the 20K mark. Not quite there, but it destroys every other comic. Written by Chip Zdarsky. You guys still want to see what he does. The art is done by Jorge Jimenez. Great cover art here done by him as well. This might be the time to jump on Batman. Chip Zdarsky might be able to do what he wants with the character finally, now that Absolute Power is over. When you think about it, his whole story was based off of Failsafe. Failsafe was a major player in Absolute Power. Now, maybe he's got something that he can write that people want to read. We'll see. Time will tell. And now it's time for Spider Slayer's sleeper pick of the week. And this wasn't even in the top 20. This was the top 25. But I'm going to let you guys know this book exists. This is The Plastic Man No More. This is issue 2. Guys, this book was great. This was a 32-page comic for the price of $5. It's written by Christopher Cantwell. This book does have 1,786 pulls. Listen, when it came to the first issue of this, it gave you everything that you wanted to know about Plastic Man, how he became the character that he was today, and more. Right? He's suffering through some degeneration process based off a battle that he went through. He's trying to cure himself. He's trying to make amends with his son once again. Has a lot of heart. The art is really good. This is definitely a recommend pick for me. If you guys read the first issue, let me know what you thought of it in the comments below. And there you have it, guys. There are my top 10 most pulled and sleeper pick of the week. If there's not anything in this top 10, let me know what maybe your top 10 is, or at least maybe one of your most pulled comics that you're looking forward to. And as always, guys, if you want to watch more content, there's always more for you to click on right here. Support the local comic shops. Keep buying, keep collecting, but always remember, read those comic books. Guys, thank you so much. I'll see you real soon. Bye.